Thank you very much indeed, sir, for kindly inaugurating the technical session. Ladies and gentlemen, our next eminent speaker, Shri T. Balakrishnan, the Principal Secretary, Industries and Commerce, Government of Kerala, is an IS officer from Kerala. He has served as Labour Commissioner, Managing Director of Tourism, ODEPC, Airport Development, and Secretary of Local Self-Government, Transport, Civil Aviation, Tourism, and Rural Development. May I now invite Shri T. Balakrishnan to kindly give his presentation on achievements in SLPE reforms in Kerala.
President of the technical session, Shri Bakchi, respected Shri K. M. Chandrasekhar, Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Minister, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members of the Planning Commission, CMDs of various central and state public sector organizations, senior officials, colleagues, members of the media, and friends. This debate about public sector and private sector, the merits and demerits of both the systems have been going on for quite some time. As Mr. K. M. Chandrasekhar mentioned, we need to have an open mind towards both the systems and the advantages and disadvantages of both these systems when we have to move forward. Immediately after the independence, we tried to strike a balance between public sector and private sector and tried to give importance to both these concepts. By 70s, we noticed that there has been a shift towards one side, not only just in India but the world over, nationalization and more emphasis on the public sector and state ownership compared to an acceptance of the private sector. By 90s, things probably moved to the other side. The breakup of the Soviet Union, globalization, privatization, liberalization, and various changes that took place in the rest of the world also had a major impact on India, and we saw things moving towards the other directions. Well, now, when we are approaching 2010, we had a global financial crisis, the recession, and probably a re-evaluation of the role of the government, the public sector, and the private sector. And things seems to be moving back, or the balance seems to be regaining, and then probably an acknowledgement that both public sector and private sector have their places in economic development, or we are moving close towards what we call the middle path, or an acceptable, what Buddha said, the golden path seems to be acceptable by all now. In the next few minutes, I will briefly touch upon the experience of Kerala and what we have been trying to do in the state. And before that, I should just give you the big picture. If you take all the state-owned public sector companies in India, not just the CPSC, the state-owned companies, there are 1,020, of which 837 are currently working. The total investment is about 3.33 lakhs crores, and total employment is about 19 lakhs. And if you take just the CPC, the central public sector, that's about 16 lakhs. If you take the total number of functioning state public enterprises, as I said, is 837, and the central PSC is about 246. Well, again, if you go to the numbers of PSCs owned by the states, Kerala naturally tops the list with 88 functioning public sector undertakings, followed by West Bengal, and if you take the top 10, Orissa has got about 32 numbers. And coming back again to Kerala, we have 114 public sector undertakings, and if we add 11 industrial cooperatives, which are more or less the public sector companies for our practical purpose, we have 125. Out of the 63 are manufacturing, and I don't want to go details into the figure. Well, the end of the story is that the net worth of all PSCs is 2,410 crores, but if you take just the manufacturing, we are minus 351 today. Under the industries department, all these PSUs are not under the industries department. Under the industries department, we just got the maximum number of PSUs. 63 are there, including 10 industrial cooperatives. Out of that, 46 are operational, 41 are commercial, and 37 are in the manufacturing field, and we have about 18% employees in that. Going to the the policy highlights, in the first half of this millennium, there was a decision probably to close down which are making losses and to revive those which are viable by disinvesting, by getting the strategic partner in that. And further investment in government companies were restricted or even probably put to an end unless it is absolutely necessary. And merger wherever possible and implementation of DRS, these were the policy highlights there. The outcome, before that there was hardly anybody who was really interested in taking over and reviving it. Most of them were looking at the real estate. Another sad thing was that the banks also, when they saw the closure before them, they also want to cut the losses and get out. Funding from public sector stopped considerably. And when we agreed that we are going to close, we realized that it's much difficult to close a public sector undertaking than opening one. It's a very long time consuming process and it's a never ending process. So much so, we have managed to close hardly one or two, because it takes almost about 10 years in India to close a company. Probably it will take about a month to open one, it will take about 10 years to close one. And we also saw that some of the best talents which joined the public sector and government, they were leaving when they see the writing on the wall. And of course, large scale unemployment and discontent. Well, by about 2006, there was a relooking at the whole concept of the public sector, and that's where what Dr. Prabhat Patnaik said come to our notice, because there was a very clear political decision, political guideline that the public sector should be revived, supported, revitalized, and it should grow. That was a major policy statement which probably came out from the manifesto of the political party. And then it was not just lip service, the whole philosophy of the industries department probably was PSU-led. Strong budgetary support. In 2005-06, the budgetary support to the whole PSUs in Kerala, industries PSUs, was about 5 crores. And by 2006-07, it went up to 50 crores directly, and subsequently it was again added an increase by about 30 to 40 crores. So about from 5 crores, it became almost 90 crores, almost a jump of 19 to 20 times. Another major step forward was a new initiative of the state government to tie up with the successful, large, profit-making central public sector undertaking. Here I would like to place on record the great support that we have received from various officials, including the Cabinet Secretary who just left, the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Mr. T.K. Nair, various secretaries, joint secretaries, and most importantly, CMDs of the public sector undertaking. Their strong support was instrumental or was vital in this joint venture concept. It helped with NTPC, Silk and Auto Cost with the railways, Kerala, KEL with the BHEL, Steel Complex with SAIL, Caltech was taken over by BrahMos. Some of the architects are sitting here, Mr. Runta, Mr. Shivatanpule, who have supported us to the hilt. They are here. and will be probably speaking to us also. And most importantly, the role of the RIA. We entrusted the job of restructuring, monitoring, and analyzing the performance of public sector to RIA, headed by Mr. John Mackay. That also had a major role in our, the turnaround. Here is the picture from the inauguration of TELC. Well, the policy initiatives, apart from the budgetary support, government also took a decision that wherever possible, that purchases for government and public sector should be from the public sector. But not at the cost of price, not at the cost of quality. If the price is right, if the quality is right, and if it is manufactured in Kerala, that PSUs should be preferred. Especially organizations like Kerala State Electricity Board, they made a substantial shift in their procurement policies, and that alone revived probably 2 or 3 public sector companies in Kerala. There was also the finance minister's strong support to address the old arrears like sale tax and other taxes. There were constant monitoring and sitting with the banks and discussing with them settlement, OTS, and rescheduling the loans and even both the working capital and the long-term loans. New strategies, they were allowed to invest and enter into new strategic areas, and also technology and modernization. These were also important factors. But some of the companies which we related, this is a view of the new textile mill which was closed down and sold actually, and we took over from the officially liquidated with the support of the High Court, and this is what the company is now, up and running profitably. Well, apart from the policies, there were also strategies which we converted that policies into strategies by building in performance goals to the organizations, monitoring them, and in benchmarking with the best in the both in the private sector and the public sector, and also monitoring through online systems, rewarding the achievement. And most important, I would say, is the personal commitment of the Honorable Minister. He sees through the review of the industries. Every month, 1 day is fully devoted to that. From morning to evening, he is sitting through the whole performance, analyzing, asking questions, and examining, comparing that. I think that personal commitment sends the clear message down the line that, at the top, when the matters are taken very, very seriously, that messages goes all the way down. I think if I have to pinpoint one most important factor about the turnaround is that I would say the Honorable Minister's personal commitment to the strategy of turning around and trying to understand the problems and finding solutions directly. That we also have our, apart from the monthly meeting, we have quarterly reviews and then annual reviews where all the PSUs are present and detailed strategies, goals are set in forums like this. We also reward the achievement. Here is Commander Shamsuddin getting the award for the best CEO. Well, continuing our strategies, we also have invested heavily in capacity building and also in enhancing the productivity, supporting the traditional sector through the PSUs, and again, due diligence, auditing. The Cabinet Secretary also mentioned accountability is very, very important.